The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
And welcome to the K-Files. So glad to have my buddy back this morning. Good morning, JP.
Good morning. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back. And I want to thank our sponsors, and JP's one of them, Barnes Safety and Consulting. And do want to let you know that I believe you have a class coming up November 13th.
We do. We have a class at the Bailey Masonic Lodge November the 13th at 8 o'clock in the morning.
And that is a concealed carry class. Mm-hmm. So how can they sign up?
They can call me at 919-369-0311 or just send me a text. Again, 919-369-0311, and we'll get them signed up.
Okay, very good. And also, Statewide Insurance Group is also a sponsor of this show, so we want to thank them as well. Well, last week we kind of, and I've seen 2 or 3 people that said that they had to miss it last week, so we're going to go back over a little bit of what happened with the trial of Lynn Kiel. It is over. It was over. I was in the courtroom. It was over in 30 minutes, 30, 40, 45 minutes. It was a done deal. They made a plea bargain. To tell you the truth, Mr. Lynn Kiel would not have been able to withstand the trial with his health issues. He had, and they said in the courtroom, it's public information, so I will say he was in kidney failure already.
Wow.
So he could not take the 2 weeks. Plus, the DA also brought out that they had some witnesses that had COVID. And
that complicates things. Mm-hmm.
It does. So he said with COVID going on and all of this, it was some folks in Arizona, they were going to bring back some witnesses from Arizona where they caught him. And some of those folks had COVID. So anyway, he said with the witnesses not being able to come, with Mr. Kiel being in the health that he is, and we've got to realize, you know, a lot of people would say second-degree murder. He was charged with second-degree murder. He is already around 60 years old, and 30 years.
He was given a life sentence.
Yeah,
basically.
Really.
He really was.
So, I mean, and we don't know if he's in kidney failure. You don't know what's going to happen there. So it may be like Mark Bowling. He may just pass away and in jail. You don't know. So anyway, I think everybody concerned thought it was the best thing to do, the judge included. And so that's what happened with that case. I do not believe. I did have 2 people comment that doesn't give the first wife's family closure. But I personally have not addressed that with the Sheriff's Department. I really, with the sentence and everything, I really do not believe it will be opened. I mean,
I would agree.
Yeah, I just don't think it would be open. So anyway, that is put to bed, and we'll just move on from there. So anyway, and this is talking about a long stretch of a national case this morning. Brian Laundrie, that you see every time you turn the television on, that allegedly killed Gabby Petito.
Mm-hmm.
There was a sighting called into our 911 last night of him.
Locally?
In Rocky Mount.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of
last night, on the corner of 301 and Airport Road, Fighting Crime had it. She actually played the call to 911.
Wow.
On Fighting Crime. And and this is going to be a case, a prime example of what law enforcement tells you on this show all the time. I heard several people say, oh, that wasn't him. Well, it probably was not. More than likely.
He's got to be somewhere.
He's got to be somewhere. And they said he was in those mountains and can't stay there because he keeps getting sighted in those mountains. So, but what does law enforcement tell you on this program all the time? No tip is too small.
That's right. And if you see something, say something.
So somebody called 911. And that was the right thing to do. It's not funny. I'm not making fun of them because oh, come on now. No, if they thought it was Brian Laundrie, then okay, they did the right thing. They called 911.
Well, I promise you, wherever he was sighted, they know if it was him or not, because they've been and pulled video, ATM video, traffic video from stores. They've pulled enough video right now that they know if it was him or not. U.S. Marshal Service, I guarantee you, is all over that.
Wow, I've got to call the sheriff this morning. I'm interested to see what they found. But anyway, I want to start with a case this morning that I know Sergeant Tender could not be with us today. He had another engagement, but he assured me that he will be with us the second week in November. So he will be back with Edgecombe County to give his reports, because he does have some cases that he wants to talk about. But there's a case that I know Rocky Mount will be here next week, and I'm going to ask them to expound on this case a little bit. But Orlando Flowers, I know you remember Lyndall introducing this, or you may not, because I think he introduced it last August. So it's been August last year. Mm-hmm. So it's been over a year since it was introduced, but it's still not solved. Orlando Flowers, I'll just read you what's in our book. Here's our Team Cold Case book. Was leaving a residence at 811 Arlington Street in Rocky Mount after watching the Super Bowl with some friends. When he exited the residence, he was shot several times and killed in front of the residence. He had a girl that he was his friend's girlfriend that he was seeing. And later down the road, she became pregnant. So the boyfriend of the girl finds out. He shows up, shoots 5 times. I don't know if they can't find him. I don't know what the deal is, the reason this case is not closed, or they can't pin him. I don't know what it is, but apparently they think, shots were fired at this gentleman 5 times. Let me take that back. The boyfriend, they know, was around the area. They don't know that he did pull the trigger. They don't know that he did it. And see, here again is one of those cases, they almost know, but they just can't. They can't get enough to pin him. But it only makes sense. He shows up, girlfriend's pregnant, seeing this guy that was watching TV, watching the Super Bowl, comes out, gets shot 5 times. So anyway, if anybody knows anything, 811 Arlington Street.
Where is Arlington Street? Refresh my memory.
Okay, do you know where the overpass is? The Raleigh Road, and you go over that big overpass that goes over the train.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you get to the bottom of it, that's Arlington Street.
Gotcha.
Right there.
Okay.
So, and 811 would be, I guess, I don't really know blocks that well with these streets, but anyway, it would probably be to the right when you get to the bottom. So there you go. Now, Orlando Flowers, Lyndall said Orlando Flowers got in a lot of trouble early in his life and cleaned his act up. Was highly respected in the neighborhood. He wanted to do things for people. So he started doing for his neighbors and doing things. He really straightened his act up, even though he was not doing good things early in his life. You know, you can fix this, and he did. And so, you know, the neighbors were upset because he, you know, did things for people and had become a very caring individual. And so they were all just saying, it's a shame this happened to him. So if anybody knows anything about Orlando Flowers, please, or the murder of Orlando Flowers, please call 911. If somebody, not 911, call 406. I've got 911 on my mind from the case we just talked about. Call 406-6736, please, the hotline. Or you can call the Rocky Mount Police Department if you so desire, or you can call 977-1111. They tell me to please give that number out for Crime Stoppers. So anyway, that's a case I believe you're going to have a witness. Mm-hmm. You're just going to have a witness, because if they just about know he did it and they just can't, they've just got to have a witness, don't you think?
Yes. I already know, we both agree who the number one suspect is here in this case, but it's just a matter of getting that one piece of evidence that will just, you know, tie everything together.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to take our first break. We'll be right back.
My computer's messing up.
Okay, we'll keep going for a minute. She's having, of course, computers are going to do their thing, right? So she's having a couple of computer issues, so we'll go right on. Let's talk about James Earl Harper while we're on this page. Around 2:15 a.m., Rocky Mount Police Department was called after a passerby saw a man lying on the ground near a mailbox on the 500 block of Arrington Street in Rocky Mount. Now, I do not know where Arrington Street is. Upon arrival, Rocky Mount Police Department found James Earl Harper, 65, laying near the mailbox and suffering from gunshot wounds. Mr. Harper had died of his injuries. Mr. Harper was walking to a 24-hour store near his home on Boone Street. Okay, then that tells us about where Arrington Avenue Street is. His wallet was missing and he had no money on him. There were 2 different caliber shell casings found, indicating more than one suspect. Mm-hmm. So I guess the motive here was robbery. Evidently, if anybody knows anything about that, Arrington Street, vicinity of Boone Street, please call the 406-6736. Please let us know. Folks, don't forget, it is completely anonymous. We're not going to tell who you are. I will not even know who you are. You will get a payout up to $15,000. It will be, law enforcement decides how valuable the tip is to them, which they say all tips are valuable. They really are. But we do pay out. We do write the check within 48 hours. So if you see something, as JP says, say something, please. And you can watch these shows. We do put all of these shows on YouTube. So if anybody wants to go back and watch any of our shows, if you think, oh, I know something about so-and-so that they've talked about in the past, you can go back and watch the show on YouTube, because we have them all cataloged right there for you to watch. If there's a case that you feel like you might want to come forward about, please do so. So anyway, going to take our break. I think our computer's fixed now. We'll be right back.
The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, now we're back. We had a false start like football. Okay, I kind of want to talk about Jeff Cobb again. Jefferson Cobb is his formal name, but they called him Jeff Cobb. He was a commissioner. He was a member, there you go, right there. He was a member of the Elks Lodge. I think he frequented the Elks Lodge a lot. And he was known to be a ladies' man, so to speak. So anyway, he went to Gators a lot, went to the Elks Lodge, like I said. His family, of course, his last name is Cobb Corners, where Walmart is. That whole area was their farm. So that's the Cobbs. And he owned some cinder block houses, if y'all remember, out on 43 Highway going towards Dorches. On the right hand side, you turn on the road right down there, and there was some little cinder block houses all in a row. And he had a lot of rental property. He owned a lot of those. He owned those little houses. So yeah, my point is, had a lot of rental properties. So anyway, that's a little bit about him. He was 75 years old when he was found dead in his residence on Jeffries Court in Rocky Mount. He died of multiple stab wounds to the chest, according to his death certificate. And I believe I heard at the time 18 stab wounds. That's a bit much. And we talked about one time before, that's somebody that's
an indication of rage.
They're pretty mad.
They're angry, that's right.
They're really mad. I mean, to sit there and do that, you know, you're pretty mad.
That's typical for what's called a crime of passion.
Yes.
Anger.
But I still, well, we'll read on and then I'll kind of give you some opinion on that. But so Jeffries Court, died of multiple stab wounds to the chest, according to his death certificate. There was an open package of condoms on the bedside table. A woman's hair tie was found on the floor of the bedroom. So we know a woman was probably there. Now, we can't say a woman killed him, but we can say a woman was there. According to an investigation report, Cobb had an acute amount of alcohol in his system, and his stomach was full of a red tinged fluid with a sweet odor. According to the autopsy toxicology report, that would be wine.
That's what I would think.
Yeah. All right. So he was found in the garage, and Jeff Cobb, I mean, I've seen him several times, and show the picture again, Brittany, if you don't mind. I mean, he's kind of a big guy, big built guy. I mean, how would a girl or a woman drag him?
Girl didn't do this.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
So there was a hair tie and condoms indicating a girl was there, but how did he get to the garage with the girl?
He was
there?
either fleeing someone,
Right.
okay, fleeing a situation, or he was charging someone,
Right.
charging a situation. One of those two things was taking
Right.
place.
Or do you think he might have been killed in the house and they drug him out there?
Well, the blood evidence would tell you that, and I'm not sure.
They didn't see, when they went to the crime scene, well, what I was told was, that's not in the book, what I was told was they went out there because he didn't show up. Our weatherman went to church. Fred went to church with him.
Okay.
He didn't show up for church. So, anyway, somebody went to his house eventually. Went in the house, and I don't know what they saw, I can't remember. But they didn't think at the time to look in the garage. They didn't look in the garage immediately.
Okay.
I think they went back and looked in the garage, from what I understand.
Well, then based on that, it sounds like he was attacked in the garage.
Yeah, so,
Probably used one of his screwdrivers, maybe
yeah,
from
if
a
you've got a
workbench or something.
screwdriver, I mean, you're not going there to kill somebody with a screwdriver. I mean, I can't think of any murderer that leaves home and grabs a screwdriver. I'm going to kill somebody with this screwdriver.
It's probably just a tool of convenience that was inside of his garage.
Right. It had to have already been there. So did somebody really go there to do that? Or did something happen, an altercation, something happened while they were there that made them grab a weapon like that?
Yeah.
But to me, a screwdriver sounds like a female to me. Maybe not. It sounds like something a female would just get. I don't know if they saw it laying around. Maybe not. Maybe a male would too. I mean, any kind of thing you can find.
Clear speculation. See, my brain goes to an ex-boyfriend following his girlfriend, an ex-husband following his wife.
Right.
See, that's where my brain goes.
Right. And that probably makes a lot of sense. Who was he with that night? If anybody was at Gators that night, somebody had to have seen who he left with. They said he had been to Gators, so.
And if they found a hair tie, in that hair tie is hair.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's DNA evidence left behind of whoever that female was. I guarantee
But
you
it's
that
so
hair
hard.
tie.
If you've got hair, how do you find if that person has never been?
You won't.
You won't.
Unless they do like, what's this thing where they go online and they do their family heritage?
Yes.
If a cousin, a relative, a brother, a sister, if they were to reach out to them and have some DNA, you could identify them.
Yeah, but if they've never been,
It's just
yeah, it's just okay. So, but what it says here, many have speculated that Cobb picked up a lady and the boyfriend or husband, exactly what you said, found out and killed him. Robbery was not the motive, as nothing was missing from the residence. And I'm sure he had some very nice things in his residence, you know, knowing who he was. But this happened in 2014, November of 2014. I mean, I wish somebody, you know, would come forth. Somebody has to know something about him leaving Gators. So, you know, I don't know, but anyway, 406-6736, you know the drill. So, please let someone know, because this needs to be solved to give this family closure. They have been very, very, as has every family that's had this happen, have been very distraught about this. And they wonder about this all the time, and just, you know, they're so upset because it was such a brutal murder. Just so, you know, I believe I heard 18 at one time. So, anyway, no matter how many, it's too many. So, anyway, it's time for the weather. Time to go to break. We'll be right back.
The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, we want to talk about now Stephen Frederick Mcrae. This happened just last year in January. Stephen Frederick Mcrae, 63 years old, also known as Steve. He is a white male, brown gray hair, blue eyes, approximately 5'6" and weighs 145 pounds. He has a staggering walk and also suffers from dementia. He was last seen wearing a white gray t-shirt, blue jeans, white shoes with tape on them, a dark colored coat and a hat. He does frequent the areas of Princeville, or did frequent. They should have said in the book he did frequent the areas of Princeville, Tarboro, and South Rocky Mount. He was last seen on January 3rd, 2020, around 4 p.m. at 767 Robertson School Road in Tarboro. Earlier in the day, on January 3rd, 2020, a friend went by to check on him, because remember, he had dementia, going to take him to pay some bills, but he decided not to go. Later that day, he contacted his mother and told her he was not feeling well. That is the last time anyone had seen him or heard from him. His son reported him missing a few days later. There are suspicious circumstances around his disappearance. Overnight on January 3rd to the morning of January 4th, it was 59 degrees and rainy. With rain sometimes heavy and with gusty winds, it just doesn't make sense to someone that someone would walk away from their home with nothing but the clothes on their back, practically. In January and in the rain. What is even more suspicious is Stephen Mcrae's debit card had been used multiple times after he was reported missing. January 28th, just 25 days after his disappearance, one of his daughters, Brittany Nancy Lee Mcrae, of 174 Otis Lane in Rocky Mount was charged with identity theft, financial card theft, and 2 counts of obtaining property by false pretense after she used his card to withdraw funds from his account just days after he was reported missing. Twice she withdrew $500 from his card from an ATM. She was placed in Edgecombe County Jail and given a $50,000 bond that was later reduced to a $10,000 bond. Wow. Her case is under grand jury review at the end of December. So what happened to the grand jury review, I wonder? Is that the end of December this year, I guess? And I'm sure that's been put off with COVID many times. With the court system, things are just getting put off and put off.
That's right.
So what's happened is they've moved it to, I believe this is December this year. So we need to keep up with that. We need to keep up with the grand jury review, see what's going to happen with that. Some undisclosed items from his residence were also missing. Multiple friends and acquaintances of Brittany have stated that it has been hard to keep up with her lies. She has been questioned about using her father's debit card, and she has told multiple stories on her reasoning. So now her friends are telling on her. Her friends are finding her to be suspicious. So one friend stated she just used his money like he is never coming back, and to me that is suspicious. Brittany hasn't seemed to worry about her father's disappearance. Now there you go, right there. Many would agree that if their family members were missing, they would be pounding the pavement every day looking for them, and they would. I mean, really, it's not normal for her not to act like she even cares and spending his money this way. However, Brittany has pretty much remained silent. Fighting Crime reached out to Brittany, and she refuses to talk to her and tell her side of the story. It would be something that you didn't do. Lost my place. In other words, she won't tell her story. Why wouldn't you talk? If you were innocent, wouldn't you want to exonerate yourself?
If your dad was missing, I would be beating my chest, beating on everyone's door.
Yes.
And I'm not saying she did it, but I'm just saying what I would do.
Yeah.
I would try to be on this show every chance I could. I'd try to have interviews with the newspaper, media.
She didn't want to talk to anybody.
That's odd.
It's just all, it all leads up to
It's
her.
odd behavior.
But you just can't, law enforcement will tell you, you just can't do that. You just can't arrest somebody just because you think.
That's
I mean,
right.
everything adds up. Just because it adds up. You've got to have some evidence. The word is evidence.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tremendous word in law enforcement. I mean, it really is. So many times we say, I don't understand it. She had to have done it. Why? I mean, I don't know why they haven't gotten her. Well, they need the evidence. Because if you go to court without the evidence, it's out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just thrown out before it even gets there. Because guess what? The DA examines the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Where's your evidence? Well, you don't have a case. Goodbye. That's the way it is. So,
and circumstantial evidence is not proof.
no.
It's not, and it's
No.
not evidence.
It's really not. It won't work. Even though we want it to, it won't. It says, one thing is for certain, there is more to this story as things are not adding up and it is slowly being revealed. And I do think that they are getting closer to getting her. I believe Edgecombe County did tell me that. And there's her picture. And, it talked about his shoes being put together with tape. It talked about all this. But apparently he had money.
Mm-hmm.
He must have had money for her to keep withdrawing $500
Mm-hmm.
each time. So, and she knew she could take advantage. Even before they said she always took advantage of him. He had dementia, so she probably...
I'd love to know what she used that money for.
Yeah.
Did she use it to pay towards his some bills or some things like that he had, or did she spend it on things that she had no business?
Right, exactly. That would be interesting to know too. So anyway, if anybody knows anything about Brittany in this case, his daughter, this is Stephen Frederick Mcrae. They called him Steve. So if you all knew him and knew his daughter, if you know anything, apparently her friends have talked to law enforcement several times because they're saying that she just goes on lackadaisically about her business, acting like she's not really concerned. So, and she spends his money like he's never coming back, they said. So, but he's not coming back, so I don't think. So anyway, if anybody knows anything about this case, please call 406-6736. You certainly can get paid for this. And by the way, they have not found his body. So just, if anybody knows where the body might be, don't even know if he's dead, but more than likely, and you know, they did have a point in here. It's pouring down rain. He's not going to go out on his own. He said he didn't feel good to start with, so he wouldn't be traipsing out.
Well, that's right.
It's pouring down rain. So anyway, the question is, where is the body? And you know, that's the case in so many. Travis Lynch, where is Travis Lynch's body? Just so many of them can't find the body. So anyway, if anybody knows anything, there's your number. Call the hotline, or in this case, call Edgecombe County Sheriff's Department and talk to Sergeant Tender. Well, next week we'll try to talk about some cases we talked about in the beginning. The guy on the bicycle, I know a lot of you were interested in that. The House of Cards, we'll talk about that. I'm going to try to talk about I want to talk to Wilson County and see if I can get some more information on the quadruple murder. That was interesting. Somebody went in and just killed 4 people.
I've got a contact that I worked with for years at Wilson County Sheriff's Office. Have they ever sent anyone over to discuss any cases?
No, we've talked and talked and talked. Our president, Arnold Gordon Bray, has spoken with them numerous times, and they just don't send anybody.
Tommy Future's a retired first sergeant out of Wilson. He's their major. I'm going to give him a call and see if maybe he can get us someone to come over and talk about some of these cases.
That's great, because we've got several Wilson cases. I mean, Tammy Grady, you know, the girl that came out of the Heart of Wilson Hotel. We've talked about her case, and we've talked about quadruple murders. So there are some cases that I would like for them to address, to talk about. We really need them to do that. We're available the 4th week for them to come, the 4th week in the month. We don't really have anybody. And we're going to have the Highway Patrol coming once in a while now. I'm going to try to see if I can get them back on, because he said he had 3 cases in Edgecombe County that he'd like to talk about. So we'll have them. We want to include law enforcement. That's what this is all about, law enforcement, getting their word out. So we can help them solve cases, so you can help them solve cases. Let me change that. The public is just, you're the partner here. You're the biggest piece of the puzzle. Really are. The public, they can't do this without the public. They've said this so many times. They need to enlist your help. So please help us out with these cases. We do this to try. We've had 3 cases solved. We'd like to solve more. So with your help, we can certainly do that. So we want to thank again our sponsors for helping us with this, Barnes Safety and Consulting, Statewide Insurance Group. They help us make this possible every week. I want to thank the lady that I spoke to at one of the furniture stores in Rocky Mount. I won't say which one. She might not want me to reveal her, but I walked in the door and she said, the K-Files, the K-Files. I thought that was the neatest thing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I said, well, I'm so glad you're watching. So anyway, if you see us out and about, always talk to us, but we appreciate your interest in the show. We've had a lot of interest in the show. So anyway, make it a great day, everybody. Thank you, JP.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
See you next week.
The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.